everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Okay, so you love your suitcase player you got. Maybe it's a Crosley Cruiser, maybe it's a Victrola suitcase player like this. And you got to wondering, what is inside of this thing? Wouldn't it be fun to tear it apart? But you don't want to ruin your record player. Well, I'm going to do it for you. And hopefully we won't ruin it, but I'm really interested to see how this thing works and see what's inside. So join me for an exciting and fun show as we tear apart this beautiful record player.
Welcome to Record-ology.
Okay guys, so here we go. We have the suitcase player. We're going to learn together exactly what is inside of this thing. So I've got a whole bunch of tools here. Hopefully everything we need. So we're just going to jump right into it. Obviously, I would not recommend doing this because you're going to void any warranty that you had on this. You might damage stuff. It's definitely not user serviceable, but at the same time, it's really interesting, right? And you know what I'm going to do before I even do that? I'm going to take off the hinges off the back of this so we can just take the lid right off. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I've taken off the lid. I'm going to set that to the side. That will allow easier access to the rest of this. So I'm going to start with these 4 screws in the corner. They're just Phillips. So a regular Phillips screwdriver seems to be doing the trick. Okay, all 4 screws are out. That should really be the bulk of what's holding this together. So I'm just gonna lift on the whole thing here. Okay, so it's coming loose. And there you go. Let me see if I can get a better shot. So I'm gonna turn this over. This is the piece that appears to have most of the components attached to it. So this is the Platter mechanism. This is the motor. And then under here is going to be a belt. So we're going to see if we can get to that. Here is the tone arm assembly. This is the recess for the 45 adapter. And then this is the circuit board that has everything on it. So yeah, there's this circuit board that has everything. And you'll notice that that is in line with all of the switches and knobs on the top. So they directly are, connected to the circuit board. I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver to sort of work the clip out there. Sometimes that's the best way to do it. Okay, it comes off pretty easily actually. So everything that connects to the actual turntable mechanism comes in through this ribbon cable right here. So this circuit board is going to be the amplifier, it's going to be the volume control, it's going to be the selector switch. All of that processing is going to be in this board. So again, it's kind of a weird angle, but if you see all of these knobs and the switches and the headphone jack and the line input jack all directly correlate to the circuit board down here. This piece here that doubles as the frame for the mechanism and the top panel of the record player, or the plinth, looks like it's pretty solid actually. I'm fairly impressed, very impressed. So I'm disconnecting the speaker wire assembly here, and now this piece is completely detached and we're going to set it aside. So now we're left with the, there's another one of those insulating feet, internal feet. We're left with the box or the frame. This PCB in the back here correlates to the outputs and the power, as you can see there. And there's 2 cables here that connect to the main circuit board, and the speakers are wired into that circuit board as well. See a little bit of paint down here. What's really interesting is this material on the side here. I'm assuming it's a similar kind of board composite, but it feels kind of like almost like gummy. These are glued, these panels are glued together. They're probably slotted and fitted together. A little bit of paint there, it's kind of interesting. So the speakers themselves look like they're 4 ohm, 3 watt speakers. There's no brand name. You can see the edge of the leatherette material there. So that is probably glued on there as well. You can also see the screws that are on the back of the hinges. And actually, the way that they have this screwed in from the back versus the front, that's good quality there. That's going to lead to those lasting quite a bit longer and being able to carry a bit more weight. We also talked about how the corners are braced with that wood, and that's real wood there. And that, my friends, is about it. It's a pretty simple device. Okay, so here's the mechanism under here. Here's the tone arm mechanism. So I'm going to unclip the tone arm underneath here and lift that. Don't really see anything happening in terms of lifting it. Okay, so for the actual turntable mechanism, this is kind of interesting. So I'm going to unclip. I want you to be watching right here. See how it disengages that contact right there? That is how the record player knows to start spinning the platter when you move the tone arm over the platter, and to stop it when you bring it back. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's find the drive mechanism. So we already identified the motor, so there's the motor. Now underneath there you'll see the brass thing. That is the motor spindle, and then attached to that is the belt. And then the belt is going to be driving the platter. So let's see if we can get a better look at that. Okay, so this is kind of tricky. Unlike a lot of record players where you can just lift off the platter, this one, even though I have the whole assembly detached, requires that you pop off this bracket right here. So the best way I found to do this is grab a flathead, and then for leverage, put your finger behind the spindle here and just sort of pop it off, and it's going to go flying. You're going to have to catch it, but that's the best way to do that. Also put a tiny screwdriver in the back here and sort of pull it out. And there it goes. Now we can lift the platter off. And so there we go. Okay, so there is the platter. It's obviously a plastic platter. It's going to be an injection molded platter. You can tell by these little points here where it attaches to the injectors. And yeah, it's a solid piece. I don't know if it's ABS plastic or just plastic. It's got those rubber nubs there that are positioned so that it'll grip a 45 and an LP as well. But yeah, it does the job, you guys. It's not a full-size platter, but it supports a full-size record. Okay, I've got a little grease there from somewhere. I don't know exactly where. Probably from the spindle itself. Underneath the platter's area, oh, there's that grease right there. So that spindle, ooh, is very greasy. Okay, so yeah, that white grease right there, it's probably a petroleum grease, is what I got on my fingers there, so no big worries. So yeah, there's the motor assembly, that's the pulley. I'm not going to take that out because you can see it pretty clearly. There's one side. So it's a JYK brand motor. And that's it, guys. This is an injection molded piece right here as well, but you know what? It really gets the job done. There's a little bit more circuitry underneath this right here. So this is like the speed selector switch and then the auto start on and off. So basically that needs to talk to the motor. Okay, so the sound obviously is captured from the groove, and then it goes into the cartridge here, which is a ceramic cartridge, and then wiring goes through here, comes out the back. So there's the wiring coming out the back of the tone arm underneath, and then that goes to this circuit board, and then there is a place where the clip connects to the main board where the amplifier is. So here's the belt itself. It's rubber, obviously, and I'd say, you know, if that was cut and then stretched out, that would probably be about probably 20 inches, so probably about 10 inches when it's doubled up like that. Okay guys, and there it is. I've pretty much torn down the entire thing except for taking the speakers out and taking the motor out. But we've seen every component from the speakers to the wiring to the belt. And after seeing it at this level, I actually am impressed with the quality, you guys. I mean, for what it is, this Suitcase player is built quality. It does have plastic, but you're not going to have a product without plastic if you want it at a price point that's really affordable. So there you go. Now, I got to put it back together. So let's see if I can do that. I'm also noticing that the plinth here looks like it's spray painted black because I think it's that same board underneath. Don't forget the bushings, you guys. I almost forgot to put them on. So these 3 screws right here were a lot more difficult than I thought they would be. A lot easier to take off than they were to put on. They have the bushings built into these little wood blocks here from the other side, and they need to be calibrated. So you don't just screw those down tight. You have to kind of screw them halfway, and those bushings are what gives the top side its isolation, sound isolation. So be very careful doing that. Now, again, I have to hold this because I've lost that little thing. It went shooting off. We just need to plug in everything and then attach it, and we should be good to go. Okay guys, I got it all back together and I'm really excited because after crawling on the floor and crawling on the carpet, I found that this missing bracket piece was simply on the granite countertop blending in. So we're gonna put this back. It still would have worked fine. We just wouldn't have been able to lift or turn the turntable upside down because that would have, the platter would have popped off. Okay guys, I got it all back together. Got that bracket put back on. You know, that one bushing plastic support piece did sort of disintegrate when I took it apart. Again, I wasn't expecting that, but it's not designed to be taken apart, so my bad on that. That being said, the suspension on this thing is working as good as new, so I don't think we're going to suffer any ill effects of that. But now, let's put a record on and enjoy a little Come Together by the Beatles, which sounds appropriate because somehow this record player did come together.
Come together.
Alright guys, if you liked that show, and I really hope you did, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already guys. As always, happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching Record-ology. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss a single thing.
I am the Edison phonograph. The more you become acquainted with me, the better you will like me. Ask the dealer.